Ghana for Indilo, Mamamwache, Yayade. I hope everyone is fine. I know the circumstances are not the best, but we grind, we day, we run things no run we. I just had to start on that note because sometimes in the midst of everything, you start to get despondent, lose, courage and all of that. But hope is something we can never lose. It is that anchor that we must stand by. And that is why today I'm going to drop thinking bombs on you out there. Mind, I didn't say literal bombs. Thinking bombs, because I'm going to get you think, reflect on where we are as a country. And when our leaders come through with this or that, properly assess, read between the lines. I've titled my blunt thoughts this morning, Grinding Poverty in the Face of a 24-Hour Economy. Reading the room. You must understand. Grinding poverty in the face of a 24-hour economy. Reading the room. I'd like you to come with me to the slides for starters, and then I'll break down for you this whole idea of a 24-hour economy. But what in recent times have some of our leaders been saying? The former president and now the vice president who is flag bearer of the NPP. John Dramani Mahama said, "We will introduce a 24-hour economy with incentives and tax breaks for manufacturers who will run extra shifts to create more room for employment." So what? Incentives, tax breaks for manufacturers. Let's go to the next slide. Now in the next slide, can we go to the next slide, please? Now in the next slide, this is what the key pointers are. It will include the operation of a 3-shift system by industries and commercial entities on a daily basis. Businesses will be encouraged to sign up with tax incentives. You sign up, you get tax incentives. It will heighten security, which will be provided for safer cities and thereby, in effect, boost tourism. This is all on paper. Lower electricity tariffs will be given after peak hours. You're talking after certain hours of the evening or whatever, so that people can go through the cycle and pay less. Special meters will be employed or deployed at 6 a.m. I think that should actually be 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. And then 24-hour economy initiative will be voluntary. No one is compelled to come on board. Some interesting thoughts in there. But let's find out what the other side has been saying. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the vice president, flag bearer of the NPP, has said, a 24-hour economy cannot be legislated by the government. I guess it goes back to the point of not compelling anyone to come on board. What's the need for legislation if the incentives are there? There are many businesses already working for 24 hours, he says. Then the track record of John Mahama doesn't show innovative thinking, he says. And then again, it is an idea that has not been well thought through. All right, let's go to the next slide. And this is where, after this, I'll pause a bit and tell you, I'll give you a piece of my mind on this matter. The former president says 3-shift system by industries and commercial entities will be on a daily basis. But our finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, says they are going to focus. And interestingly, all of a sudden, we are seeing night economy in the 2024 budget, focused on improving sports and tourism at night. Mr. Finance Minister, night tourism and sports, how innovative is that? Especially when your flag bearer says others are not innovative enough in their thinking. And let me ask you, even daytime tourism and sports cry, the seat up, na night. Is it there that you fare any better? Look at our Black Stars. Look at our local football league. If building AstroTurfs were the panacea to our sporting problems, we would have been in a much better place by now. So give us a much needed break, Mr. Finance Minister. Have you seen the state of roads to most of the major tourist sites in our country? Going there by day is hazardous, not night. And no question. Ghana, for wake up, rouse yourselves before it's too late. Listen, the 2021 population and housing census conducted by the Ghana Statistical Service indicated that more than 1.55 million people, or put differently, 13.4% of Ghana's economically active population was out of work as compared to the 5.3% rate of joblessness recorded by the 2010 census. The World Bank in 2016 projected that Ghana would have to create at least 300,000 new jobs annually to absorb the increasing number of unemployed people given the country's growing youth population. You see, this actually will be a very fine time for the 2.3 million jobs the vice president has been touting to make themselves manifest. I'll tell you what. Some of you parents don't even know what your daughters at school are up to. They school all right, but at night and even at some points during the day, they are hooking up, engaging in sophisticated prostitution, purportedly to be able to foot the bills they know you cannot afford to pay, or admittedly, in some cases, live luxurious lives many of us can ill afford. For many graduates in there, though, and I'm talking of graduates who are even mothers, and I'm putting this on the back of research, and so on, they are doing this because they have simply found no jobs many years after graduating from school, and that's resort to selling their bodies to get by. What a crying shame. I mean, speaking of a 24-hour economy, someone may say, well, will all that night business not just cause the prostitution business to boom even further? Possibly. But wait, not so fast. If we need more police officers, nurses, filling station attendants, drivers, maybe even nighttime traffic wardens, if things really get busy, say during festive seasons like Easter, the Eid, and Christmas, more shop attendants, accountants, restaurateurs, cleaners, waiters, security guards, and what have you, a chunk of the number, if we plan properly, could be women. I ask you, how many of our sisters, if given the choice of earning an honest and dignified income, would expose themselves to the high risks of the sex business, especially considering the statistics show that due to the high health risks associated with their work, about 5 out of every 100 of them that you pick likely are infected with the dreaded HIV. How many would do that? Are we honestly suggesting they would risk it all like they're doing now if they had better alternatives to feed themselves and their families? Do you honestly think these girls and women would be hooking up with men if they could hook some good money by doing something dignifying? Do you? Listen, there will always be those who want to live on the fast lane, those who want to live the fast life. That's okay. Those are not the people I'm talking about. Many of them, however rational as they are, would not have gone down the very slippery road of prostitution if poverty had not paid them an unwelcome visit because they had no source of income. That's where my concern is. 2 days ago, a report called the Old Mutual Financial Services Monitor revealed that a whopping 64% of the Ghanaian working population was in financial distress. This distress was even worse among the lower income bracket, with as high as 72% of workers in that category negatively impacted. For those in the informal sector, the financial distress had impacted some 68% of the population. Just think of that for a moment. To make matters even worse, the study also revealed that 4 out of every 10 of those in such financial distress also found themselves in what the study calls the sandwich generation. That is, those who are in the middle of the financial curve, having to support parents on the one end and their own children on the other. When ordinary Ghanaians were asked about Ghana's economy, the report revealed that less than 1 out of every 5 consumers expressed a lack of confidence in Ghana's economy. That is a confidence rate of less than 20%, which actually is a clear vote of no confidence. Interestingly, in terms of financial needs, income security was named through the findings of the report as the topmost priority of Ghanaians. Yet look at where we are. Now, if this is not a wake-up call, then I don't know what is. But coming back to this, recently, the TUC boss, Dr. Yao, an economist himself, described the 24-hour strategy as a game changer. And why not? In fact, while the Vice President, Bawumia, and this administration has vilified the 24-hour economy, they have been pilfering from it to try to water it down. You would note from reading pages 92 and 93 of the 2024 budget statement that terms like a night and sport economy, night economy and tourism, developing the Black Star Square into a city light center, all in a bid to drive the night economy in Accra and a welcoming night environment, and the use of astroturfs to create, quote, vibrant night economies in their communities are all conveniently snuck in. Whom are we trying to deceive? Some of us can read between the lines. The question is, can our misleaders read the room correctly for once? Our politicians never learn, you see. Free SHS is good, though fraught with avoidable problems. But here's a bit of a throwback. Before election 2016, the NDC made fun of it, tried to water it down. Look at what happened to them. The same thing is happening today with John Mahama's proposal of a 24-hour economy, which, by the way, Hassan Ayariga, a former flag bearer of the CPP and the APC, had hinted at in his APC manifesto in 2020. To be fair, though, the NDC also had it in its 2020 manifesto. It simply wasn't brought up the way it has been now. Again, even before these, the idea had been mooted in Ghana's proposed 40-year development plan, which never saw the light of day. This whole thing about a night economy. My point is this. If this 24-hour cycle can be properly planned, promoted, executed, and if it will save many lives and businesses, literally, why not? A typical example is this. I'm dispensing free advice to former President Mahama and to Vice President Bawumia. Look at our book publishing or book printing space. I write books, so I know what I'm talking about. If we had businesses going well and an environment that fosters true production, we would have a printing sector that would continuously work 24/7. Believe me, go to Accra Newtown, go to Accra Central and other places and look at what goes on there. Instead of putting in place the right measures to boost that sector, even government itself will print stuff from China. True, we have tried to get some local content for the printing of textbooks, but even that has not been an easy ride. If we had, like Dr. Bawumia told us before election 2016, truly moved from taxation to production, imagine where our printing presses and publishing houses would have been. With the right environment, it definitely can be done. But who will do it? That is the question for the gods. Or maybe our political misleaders just like to say things out of political expediency. Maybe. But there's a whole lot more to contemplate. Because when you go to the next slide, this is what other jurisdictions have done and continue to do. There's a treasure trove of lessons and a vast store of knowledge to tap into, especially considering how weak our economy is and its susceptibility to the very least of shocks. The case of London's night economy. Contribution in gross value added £17.7 billion to £26.3 billion in 2014. That was the addition because of London's night economy. The projected growth rate value was £1.63 billion yearly by 2026. Jobs created directly and indirectly, 1.26 million jobs. I'm talking London, not the entirety of the UK. Projected growth rate, 66,000 additional jobs every year. Let's go to the next slide. In the case of Sydney in Australia, Sydney's nighttime economy valued in 2017 $27.2 billion. Yeah, you heard me right. Dollars. Jobs created 234,000 jobs. Let's check out country by country what is happening. United States, cities like New York and Las Vegas are renowned for their vibrant day and nightlife and continuous activities facilitated by a 3-shift system spanning 8 hours each. In Japan, metropolises like Tokyo boast a vibrant economy with services such as convenience stores and public transportation accessible 24/7, generating additional employment opportunities. South Korea, cities like Seoul feature a dynamic 3-shift system accompanied by round-the-clock availability of services like transportation, convenience stores, and a dynamic nightlife. Next slide. Singapore. The city-state of Singapore operates a well-established 24-hour economy, ensuring that public transportation, dining, and shopping services remain accessible at all times. In the UK, London, particularly in central areas, sustains a thriving nightlife with select services operating continuously 24/7, contributing to increased job opportunities. And finally, Dubai. We like going to Dubai, right? In the United Arab Emirates. It is internationally recognized for its 24-hour economy, characterized by activities and services available around the clock. So tell me, we don't just poo-poo ideas because they come from the other side. What do you think watching me this morning? Is this a viable idea or not? If we get the execution right, is it not something that can get more jobs so that that hookup girl, your sister, my sister, your mother, my mother. I read a pathetic story about a lady who came from up north. She's hooking up in Accra just to make a decent living for herself and her children. She knows the risks. That's the only job she's able to get. My job as a journalist is to do the research, like I've done, and expose the truth to you so you can be guided and know what to do. The ball now is in your court. Let's put on our thinking caps as a forward-looking people and do our best for Mother Ghana. As the Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah would say, we face neither east nor west, we face forward. Let us embrace the forward march to make Ghana a place to be proud of. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, hot, raw, unedited, and undiluted. As always, I pray God richly bless our motherland, Ghana, and make her truly great and strong.